everyone, and welcome to ET News. I'm Destiny Harper.
And I'm Devon Johnson, coming up on this first show of the school year. Spirit Week and homecoming plannings are in the work, and find out what the plans are so far. And Mrs. Felton joined us in the studio to talk about last year and what's ahead this year, and we'll highlight girls volleyball.
But first, here's the staggering statistics we should all know about. You have about 2 times more likely a chance of having Alzheimer's disease if you're black versus if you're white, and 1.5 times more likely if you're Hispanic. And now how about these statistics? By 2060, Alzheimer's disease will have increased more than 4 times the amount it is today amongst our black community. That's why several students and staff took to the streets for the Walk to End Alzheimer's event. ET News reporter DJ Jackson spoke with the Senior Director of Programs of the Rochester and Finger Lakes chapter to find out more about the organization and how they're helping families.
Hello everybody, I'm Dejon Jackson. I go by DJ, and today I'm here with Miss
Arlene Wilson, Mrs. Arlene Wilson.
All right, Miss Wilson, I want to know, where are we today?
We are at Innovative Field, formerly known as Frontier Field, and we are here for the Walk to End Alzheimer's.
So I want to know, what is Alzheimer's for those who don't know?
So Alzheimer's is a progressive disease where people lose the ability to remember things and be able to handle and do activities of daily living.
So I want to know, why hold something like this? Why do we want to walk to end Alzheimer's?
Well, part of it is education. So we have information about the disease, about supports, about clinical trials, so people can really understand what the disease is.
Okay.
But we also have this walk for support. Within communities of color, particularly African American, Latino, we hide this information. We don't talk about it, and then we feel isolated. We feel stressed out. We feel overwhelmed, and we think we're the only one going through it.
Yeah. So I want to know, what does Alzheimer's mean to you?
So Alzheimer's is very personal to me. I've had 9 relatives and family members with the disease, and it is a thing that I would say out of maybe, I probably know between Facebook, social media, I probably know 5,000 people. I've only met one person who is African American who has not been directly impacted by this disease. So it's personal, but it's also urgent. We need to have more people know and understand how to take care of their loved ones in a way that's dignified and respectful.
Okay, so there's a lot of caretakers out there for people with Alzheimer's, a lot of people that are dealing with Alzheimer's. What is some advice to the caretakers or somebody that's dealing with Alzheimer's that you have?
So we have a training that we call the 5 tenets of person-centered care, person-centered approach. So if you know one person with Alzheimer's, you know one person with Alzheimer's. Everybody's disease is different. Everybody's behavior is different. So as a caregiver, you have to develop a specialized plan to meet the needs of your loved one. If your loved one wanders, you need to make sure they're safe in the house. If your loved one wants to cook and burns up stuff, you got to have a plan for managing the stove. If your loved one doesn't want to eat, you have to find a way to make food enticing.
Right. So, all right, thank you, Ms. Wilson. I really appreciate that. Make sure y'all check out the End Alzheimer's Association. The walk is beautiful. We're going to show you some events of that, some pictures and videos of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's clear that the impact on families is profound. To truly make a difference in our community, we need your support. You've probably noticed these donation drives featured prominently in our halls. By scanning the QR code you see on your screen in the email we sent out or the flyers on the walls of the school, you can easily contribute to the cause. Every donation, no matter the size, helps the Alzheimer's Association to continue its vital work in our community and bring us one step closer to finding a cure. Edison Tech is reaching their own goal of $2,500.
Really?
Yep, but honestly, I think we could do more.
Go ET!
I had an opportunity to sit down with our principal, Ms. Felton, to talk about some of the new policies, her reflections on last year, and what's ahead this school year. Thanks for joining us. As you know that we've had you last year in the studio, just, talking about yourself a little bit. This time we wanted to get you in here to talk about, the new school year and stuff. And speaking on that, how do you feel about the new school year?
So first of all, I'd like to let everyone know that I am the proud Edison Tech principal. I like to say proud ET principal Felton. In terms of the new school year, our mission is to inspire, teach, transform, and impact the world. And our vision is developing generations of positive world changers who invent their futures. So, with that being said, I feel highly encouraged by the start of the school year. I believe that we've built a really strong momentum. Our students are engaged, and my job has been to create just a positive climate and culture, aligning that to our vision, with us being a school that is in receivership and identified as underperforming and excuse me, in a few different areas. I am really dedicated to making sure that we are committed to our goals, and that our students and staff achieve success. So I'm very hopeful about the start of the school year. Things have been going well.
Speaking of our shared committed goals or whatever, what are some highlights you'd like the students, faculty, and staff to know about?
So in regards to highlights, just looking at last year, we saw a significant growth in student participation in our career and technical education, CTE. Edison is very unique. I like to say Edison Tech is the premier school in Monroe County. We have very unique initiatives such as our Freshman Academy. One of our incentives was just to make sure there was enhanced attendance. We're looking at our behavior goals. Additionally, just strengthening our partnerships. We have a lot of agency, community, and just business partners that are associated with Edison Tech. So for us, just looking at the emotional needs of our students, the behavioral, and also the academic needs, making sure that we're just an inclusive school, really important that we strengthen that.
Speaking of the highlights from last year, is there anything that you'll want to improve on from this year?
So looking at this year, there is definitely a laser-like focus on improving. Mm-hmm. I like to say our ABCs, which is attendance, behavioral outcomes for students, and also classwork. And that is going to help us really strengthen, again, as I mentioned before, our goals overall. So we want to make sure students are attending school. Chronic absenteeism is one of our demonstrable indicators that we're lifting. So we first need to make sure students are in school, and once they are in school, we need to make sure they're attending all of their classes. I like to tell students, when I'm in the halls and doing walkthroughs, the magic happens in the classroom, right? Not in the hallways. So we need you in the classroom so that you're learning. So definitely looking at, again, strengthening the ABCs. Once students are in the classroom, I know we can look at our graduation rate to increase that. Our goal is 67% or higher. Of course, I would love 100%, mm-hmm. But we do have that goal of 67% or higher. So we will continue to work on those goals this year.
We are looking ahead of the end of this year, and what would you what would you hope to celebrate in June?
So, of course, as I stated, our graduation rate. We'd like to hit our target of 67% graduation. Also, just celebrations, just celebrating. Our CTE pathways, our PTech program, I'd like to continue to strengthen those programs and celebrate those programs, and just continue to really demonstrate positive behaviors. Well, I would like our students to continue to demonstrate positive behaviors and really to lean into our mission and vision. Ultimately, I just want to see our community really come together to support all of our students academically and socially. I like to say our stakeholders. I like to see all of our stakeholders really wrap their arms around Edison Tech as a community.
Just to switch up the conversation just a little bit, what led the district to have a dress code for the school, and how do you think Edison is handling the dress code?
Okay. Very good question. So, and I do get a little pushback on this from students sometimes when I talk to them about our dress code, the student code of conduct. This year, I've paid more attention to ensuring that our students are adhering to the student code of conduct and to our expectations here at Edison when it comes to, the dress code. The dress code basically ensures that clothing choices do not disrupt the learning process or negatively impact school safety. So at Edison, we're just reinforcing and ensuring that students follow the dress code and the code of conduct. And so staff help to guide students in adhering to the dress code just by offering like reminders and support, and then we respectfully address violations and make sure that they're aligned to the code of conduct. And so I did commission posters for our school this year, and I tried to because I'm just thinking about how I like to be approached. If there's something that I need to change, right, I like to be approached in an affirming way. So even if you look at our posters, I'm not saying, don't wear this, don't wear that, don't do this, don't do that. It's more affirming. So an Edison inventor, this is the way you should dress. Make sure you're covered up. Make sure, your midriff, the midriff is not showing or whatever. So we try to say things in an affirming way. And then additionally, we have a phenomenal clothing closet. So if we have a situation where a student does not have something they can change into, we have a lot of donations from our community partners within our clothing closet that we have something that, students can wear so it doesn't interrupt academically that for that day, that they still can go into their classrooms and they still can learn. But there is a focus on just making sure that we're appropriately dressed and that we're not distracting others. And it's no different than you going into your workplace, right? So it's important.
Okay, I understand that. That's like a better understanding from now.
Yes.
Just to switch up the conversation just one more time, how can we engage into, sports more?
So that's a really good question about sports. And just to elaborate a little bit more on sports, we really want to increase engagement by really highlighting athletics for physical health. And also, like I said before, it develops teamwork and discipline and leadership skills. But we're also trying to promote participation by really helping to build like school pride, more branding. We really want our students to get involved with sports and extracurricular activities. We know that it helps to promote like their communication skills, and we plan on making sure that we have more of a laser-like focus on communicating to students and our student athletes so that we can build partnerships and community around our sports organization. So our goal is really to make sure that every student knows that there's a place for them to grow and succeed through our athletic programs. Because Edison Tech is the premier school in Monroe County. I mean, what else can I say? We're promoting ET excellence in everything that we do. In the classroom, on the field, and even when we're out in the community, we promote ET excellence.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm sure we're going to have you again sometime later in the school year.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to staff and students. And I want to thank you all because you always do a phenomenal job with ET News. So keep up the great work.
There's a lot of sports.
Yeah, volleyball, tennis, and our volleyball is really doing really good. Speaking of that, our girls volleyball are racking up the wins this season. The Lady Inventors varsity volleyball team had a much better season this year than last. The varsity volleyball team record in the 2024 season is a 4-14, which is huge for them, considering last season they did not win any games. This week's varsity are playing in a RCAC tournament, which is a Rochester City School District tournament that includes all 8 girls teams in the city. So Edison Tech is on a track to win a sectional title. High hopes of this group of Lady Inventors. JV finished 2024 with a 10-8 winning season. These ladies also upped their season, surpassing the wins from last year. Volleyball is a great team sport, and since most players on this team are juniors, we'll be looking for some new athletes for next year. Wait, Destiny, wasn't that you up there?
Yep, it was me. And it's a couple other girls that's not only on just JV, but on varsity as well.
You're on both teams?
You already
Check
know.
you out. Well, that does for this edition of ET News. I'm Devon Johnson.
And I'm Destiny Hartford.
Thanks for watching.